What can I do to improve my speaking? Why don't native speakers understand me? Where should I start when working on my speaking skills? What should I do to try to get rid of my accent? I get these types of questions literally every other day. Speaking is important. It's this unique way for people to communicate with each other and get their point across. Speaking another language is hard. Nonetheless, speaking another language, specifically English because it's an international language, can open many doors for you. It can help you with your career and your personal life. We all know this. Then, what we also know is that we have to practice. We actually have to get those words and sentences out of our mouths every single day as much as possible. It's key. The thing that distinguishes a professional from an amateur is that a professional never stops learning and working to improve their skills. Some people just don't do this and complain that they can't speak. Some people are just very resistant to this whole idea of practicing because it's hard work and it has to be consistent. But we're not talking about those people right now because, and thankfully, there are those, and you're one of them if you're watching this video, that do practice and learn, but sometimes you just hit a plateau. It's when you reach a certain level and then you're stuck. It's like there's no progress anymore. Well, based on my personal experience and on my experience working with my students, I'll tell you, one thing that is frequently overlooked and underestimated, but has a large impact on your speech is stress, word stress and sentence stress. Not getting the stress right messes with people's pronunciation big time. Maybe you have heard that English is stress-timed language, which means some syllables will be longer, stressed ones, and some syllables will be shorter, unstressed ones, compared to syllable-timed languages where each syllable takes approximately the same amount of time. Putting the stress in the wrong place makes it difficult for native speakers to understand that word, let alone the whole sentence, and it can even change the meaning of the word. However, putting the stress in the right place usually helps us with knowing where a true vowel has to be pronounced and that all the rest of the syllables have to be reduced, meaning that those other vowels have to be pronounced as a schwa. And I said usually because we also have words with a secondary stress, but it's weaker than the primary stress. It'll make your speech a lot more clear. I'll give you a couple of examples. Consequence, but not consequence. Important, but not important. Hotel, but not hotel or hotel. Regular, but not regular. Vegetable, but not vegetable. Difference, but not difference. Interpreter, but not interpreter. Then we have photo, photograph, but photographer. In compound nouns, the stress usually goes on the first syllable. Cartwheel, but not cartwheel. Background, but not background. Forecast, not forecast. Now consider these word pairs where changing the stress changes the meaning of a word. Contract and contract. Present and present. I have the whole video with these words compared. You can click the link above my head to watch it, and I'll link it in the description. The same goes for sentences. In a sentence, we stress content words that are important for a message. Therefore, we need them to stick out. And we reduce function words, those that serve their purpose, of course, but we don't need to pay our listeners' attention directly to them. That is what creates this nice rhythm to the American pronunciation, that contrast that non-native speakers really struggle with. So, when a native speaker is listening to someone, their ear hears those important words. That's how they get the gist of a message. But when people stress every single word, thinking that they are being very clear, or when they stress a wrong word in a question or a sentence, it will take a native speaker a second to think and try to make out what those people are trying to say. Consider these examples that I took from an accent reduction introduction lecture from the University of South Carolina. They will give you an idea of stressed and reduced words. When you say them, you can clap to feel the rhythm. Cows eat grass. The cows eat the grass. The cows are eating the grass. The cow's been eating the grass. It's a great illustration of a stress-timed language. Even though each sentence has a different amount of words, it takes the same amount of time to say them because of this contrast between stressed and reduced words. The cows have been eating the grass. Nobody talks like that. Now listen to this example. The cows are eating the new grass. In this case, we add one more descriptive word that needs to be emphasized, one more content word, and now the rhythm has changed. And people oftentimes call this fast speech when this is just a natural speech created by this beautiful contrast between stressed and reduced words. Now, a very effective method that I personally swear by is shadowing or imitation. It's when you copy a native speaker's speech, exactly what they say and how they say it, stressing the words they stress and using the intonation they use. You can click the link above my head to watch a video on how to know that you're imitating correctly. And now I want you to take a look at a very good example of shadowing.
Are you talking to
Me? Yes, I was talking to you. Now, why don't you go celebrate your freedom with your own friends? But I don't have any friends.
And
I'm not going out there by myself. Hey, wait a minute, I got a great idea. I'll stick with you.
Although there are certain guidelines for word stressing, and I don't call them rules because there are too many exceptions, although we have them, and I'll get to them in a second, I personally recommend to listen a lot and pay attention to the way native speakers speak and shadow them, of course. When you come across a word that you don't know or are not sure how to pronounce, look it up. Check its meaning and check its pronunciation. I like dictionary.com and Youglish. That's a great resource. You can type a word you need in the search box, choose an accent, and listen to that word being said by native speakers. Now let's take a little break to talk about the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes from experts for curious and resourceful people just like you and me. You'll find classes on different topics here, for example, film and video making, how to create cool videos with your phone, and video editing in Premiere Pro, crafts, creative writing. This one is the one that I'm particularly interested in. And I started with this one and I found it very useful. 6 steps to successful writing habit. And then master classes on productivity. I haven't completely tackled this area so far and it's very to the point for me since I'm working from home most of the time. So if you have the desire to learn some particular skill or just learn something, now's the time, especially considering the situation right now. Why don't we use this time for our advantage? And it's very affordable. It's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. Now get this, the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description and join this cool community will get a 2-month free trial premium membership that gives you unlimited access to all the classes so you can explore your creativity. Now let's get back to our topic and let's talk about the rules. These first 2 guidelines have many exceptions to them and are applicable only to 2-syllable words. Number 1. In most 2-syllable nouns, adverbs, and adjectives, the stress goes on the first syllable. Chocolate, happy, never. Number 2. In most 2-syllable verbs, the stress goes on the last syllable. Embrace, decide. Now these following rules are more reliable. Put the stress 1 syllable before the suffix if a word ends in these suffixes. Enthusiastic, emotion, extension, nationality. Put the stress 2 syllables before the suffix if a word ends in these suffixes. Agency, democracy, apology, geology, photography, identical, critical, geological, decorate. When you see these suffixes, stress the suffix. Employee, engineer, Japanese. Well, that was a lot of information to digest. Bye.